Let's welcome our next speaker. This is Omri Paz from Vegan Friendly. He's a law student still, and he's also the founder of the big Israeli organization, Vegan Friendly. And today he's going to talk about its successes and the ways to achieve this success. So let's listen to him, and then you have the chance to ask questions, of course, and I do encourage you to do that.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Omri. I'm from Israel. And before we start, I have a quick question for you guys. Let's see if you can guess the answer. What is Israel famous for in the last couple of years, besides terror attacks, amazing hummus, and probably the worst prime minister ever to live? Anybody can guess? Well, basically, the vegan revolution. Israel apparently is the most vegan country in the whole world. We have about 5% vegans and 8% vegetarians, which is quite massive, especially if you think about the fact that just a couple of years ago, we only had even less than 1% vegans in the whole country. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about a couple of things. I'm going to shortly talk about the vegan revolution in Israel and the successes that we had. But mostly what I want to do is take one big success that we had, the Animal Rights March of 2015, where we actually managed to bring 15,000 people with almost no budgets, and use it as a study case, showing you guys what exactly we did, breaking it down to small details and giving you practical tips so you can also understand what we do in Israel that obviously works, but also hopefully that you can use it in your activism here in Polska. So I'll quickly introduce myself. As I said, my name is Omri. I founded Vegan Friendly, which is a non-profit organization in Israel. In the organization, we have many activities. One of them is actually exposing the sad truth behind factory farming by clever campaigns, lectures, and explanation stands. A good example of one of the campaigns that we did is the Vegan Journey. We actually rented a huge Isuzu truck. Well, it doesn't have to be Isuzu, right? It can be any truck. And we had huge screens, one on the side and one on the back, with projectors showing videos of what goes on behind factory farming. And we actually took the truck and we drove it all the way from the north of Israel down to the south of Israel. That actually might sound a bit impressive, but keep in mind, it's a 3-hour drive, right? So seriously, we actually drove the truck for 30 days. Every day we stopped. I actually have 6 jokes in this lecture, so if you recognize a joke, you can laugh. It's fine. So we actually stopped every day in a different city. And when we stopped, we parked the truck where we have lots of people so they can see the videos. We gave them amazing, delicious vegan food. And we also had people talking one-on-one about veganism, so this was a very good campaign. Another campaign that we still have, it's the Cube Challenge. We actually built a huge cube, and we placed it in the middle of the street. We have lots of people just walking by. And the only thing that the cube said on each one of its sides was, the Cube Challenge, could you stay inside for only 3 minutes? Now that sounds interesting. What the hell does this cube have inside that I can't stay in for only 3 minutes? So people would go inside, and then when they entered, we showed them a graphic video of what's happening in factory farming for 3 minutes. And the challenge was for them to stay and watch the whole video. So we mostly target teenagers. And as you can see, there's lots of interest. There's a huge line forming, which for me is always amazing to watch people standing in line to go inside and watch vegan movies of slaughterhouses and stuff like that. That's pretty crazy, I think. Another main activity that we have, that's our major activity, is making veganism. A lot of times you hear the question about why to be vegan and how to be vegan. So we try to address those 2 questions, also with why, but also with how. So we try to make veganism as easy and accessible as possible by, for example, encouraging businesses, restaurants, to add vegan options to their menus. So a good example would be Domino's Pizza. You have Domino's Pizza here in Poland? Oh, okay. Yeah. So basically, 2013, we convinced Domino's Pizza to add vegan cheese to its pizza, making it the only country in the whole world, I think, that they have the vegan pizza with the vegan cheese on it. I think they actually had a petition after we did our move in the whole world, asking Domino's to add cheese and also other countries. We have, if in 2012 there was only 2 vegan restaurants in all the country, now we have over 50 vegan restaurants and 700 vegan-friendly restaurants in Israel. Keep in mind that to be vegan-friendly, they need to have 25% of vegan options in every category. So 25% vegan options in the starters, mains, desserts, everything. We also label vegan products with the vegan-friendly logo. We have more than 2,000 products in Israel labeled, so you can still live the lazy vegan lifestyle. You don't need to read the ingredients or anything. And also throughout the year, we have massive events. One of them is the Vegan Congress, which is quite similar to the Animal Rights Conference that you have here. We try to promote veganism and, more important, activism. And during Independence Day, do you have in Poland Independence Day? So in Israel, what people do on Independence Day is they take animals, kill them, chop them to little pieces, put them on the barbecue, and then eat them. That's how we celebrate Independence Day in Israel. So in the vegan-friendly, we have a vegan barbecue, and which actually draws about 5,000 people every year, showing them that they can also celebrate Independence Day in a different way, a moral way. And our biggest event is the Vegan Fest, which draws 15,000 people every time we have it from all over the country. Also, people come abroad. It's a very big organized event. We also, the cost, if the gentleman in front of me talked about 12,000 euros, this is about 120,000 euros just to have the event. So we also have to have admission and everything. But still, we managed to bring lots of people because it's really a really great event. So this was, you see, people even enjoy themselves. So this was a short explanation about what we do in the vegan-friendly and our part in the vegan revolution. Now let's talk about how the vegan revolution in Israel started. So as I said, 2012, less than 1%, only 60,000 vegans in Israel. 3 years later, 400,000 vegans in Israel, 5%. Israel is a small country. We only have 8 million people. I know you have here about 35 million people. So these are actually massive numbers. Israel became really fast the most vegan country in the world. You can see we have a higher leaf than all the other. And Tel Aviv was actually voted the most vegan city in the whole world by the Daily Meal, which is a kind of a big newspaper. So what basically happened? It all started with a bald Jewish guy called Gary Yourofsky. Do you know him? Okay, I'm trying to get you to participate. He has a lecture on YouTube called The Best Lecture That You Ever See. And it hit Israel in 2012. We translated it. And it got to 1 million views in only 1 year. We estimate that it made 100,000 people vegan. Now, keep in mind that it didn't just happen by itself. From the beginning that we recognized that this lecture is very powerful, we had a whole team that promoted it on YouTube, Facebook, and the press, just everything we could. We took it to universities, tried as many people as we could to watch the video. Another thing that was major, 2012 and 2013, we had 2 or 3 major investigations and undercover investigations, and they actually hit the news, primetime television stations. So we're talking about 20-30% ratings. So a lot of people in the country saw what goes on behind the factory farming. We estimate that between 10 and 40,000 people stopped eating meat after these investigations. And I hope, maybe I hope that you don't have it, but do you have in Poland the Big Brother competition? Big Brother? No? Yeah, okay. So in Israel, it's the most popular television show in all of the country. It has a 40% rating. And in 2014, we actually had a vegan participating in the show which was also, she was not only a vegan, she was a vegan activist. And for some strange reason, she actually won the competition. And right after the competition, there was a survey saying that the television show is about 3.5 months, and you also have like the live channel that you can watch it 24/7. So there was a survey saying that 80,000 people in Israel became vegan just because of the show. So these were the three main reasons to kind of jumpstart the vegan revolution. But as a result to these main events, we actually had in Israel this vegan renaissance. All of a sudden, you can find vegan food, amazing vegan food, everywhere. And you can also find vegan products in supermarkets everywhere. So vegan cheese, vegan meat, vegan omelets, water. I'm joking, that's vegan anyways. And even supermarkets had a whole section of vegan food. Like they actually had like huge signs, the vegan revolution in just supermarkets, regular supermarkets. Imagine you go to just a mainstream supermarket, and you see a huge sign, the vegan revolution in this supermarket. So that was pretty amazing. And even the IDF, the Israeli army, had its vegan revolution, having much more vegan options in the food room and vegan boots, vegan beret. So that's, I think, amazing. So everything I talked about, it might seem that maybe we had lots of resources, maybe we had a lot of money, maybe we had lots of people working to have these changes. But the truth is that Israel is actually one of the countries out of the Western countries with the least resources. We almost have nothing. So how do we actually do it? Okay, what is our technique? So what I want to do is, as I said in the beginning, is take a good example of a big success that we had, managing to bring thousands of people out to the streets with no resources and showing you step by step what we actually did. Basically, you can apply it in any other things that you do, any projects, any campaigns, everything. So do you remember that I told you that in the Vegan Friendly, we have massive events throughout the year? So because we have lots of experience organizing events, we're happy to help organize the third Animal Rights March just last year. So if in the first year, 2013, we had 5,000 people that showed up, which was quite amazing because it was the first time, we didn't know if anybody's going to show up. And the second year, we also had 5,000 people that showed up. In the third year, guess how many people came? Well, 15,000 people. You're supposed to know this by now. And I want to show you guys this, I think, this great video. I need to escape. Of the march that we had, the third one. Should actually understand the massive amount of it. Press what? The first one, okay.
Feeling my way through the darkness, guided by a beating heart. I can't tell where the journey will end, but I know it starts. Tell me I'm too young to understand. They say I'm caught up in a dream, but life will pass me by if I don't open up my eyes. Well, that's fine by me. So wake me up when it's all over, when I'm wiser and I'm older. All this time I was finding myself and I didn't know I was lost. So wake me up when it's all over, when I'm wiser and I'm older. All this time I was finding myself and I didn't know I was lost.
Okay. So I'm actually going to ask you a strange question, especially after watching this again, watching this march. But I want to start from the beginning and ask you guys, even if you're successful in bringing all the people, right, to the march, and, okay, back on track. And it doesn't even cost you anything, right? It's still something that takes out of time, effort, resources. So why even do it? What is it the thing that you want to achieve for all of it to be worth it? What is it that you actually want? Well, I don't know what you guys want, but we had a couple of goals that we set. The first one was to get as many news items and media coverage. The second one was to inspire vegans to be active, or even more active. And the third was to bring as many non-vegans to the march that have an interest in veganism. So for example, vegetarians or just animal lovers. Obviously, you can think about more goals, but these were our goals. Okay, so I convinced myself that it's worth having the march, but how do we actually start? So for us, the most important thing was to have a very, very high goal. Something extremely impressive that will attract also the press, but also the vegans themselves, make them want to come. So we thought that if in the first year we had 5,000 people, and the second year we also had 5,000 people, let's this time go all the way and try to bring 10,000 people, calling it the 10,000 March. The paradox is that it's actually easier to bring thousands of people out to the streets than just 100 people to demonstration if those people believe that they'll be joining thousands of other people. That's because people want to feel like they're significant and like they're part of something that's bigger than them. So just by calling it the 10,000 March, we're actually able to bring lots of people out to the streets. Now keep in mind that you can't just randomly say the 20,000 March, the 100,000 March, and just throw up a number. It has to be something realistic. It has to be something that you believe that there's at least an 80% chance of achieving. Otherwise, people will know it's not realistic, they won't believe you, and it just won't work. Okay, so we know the goals, we know how to start, but how do we actually bring the people? Oh, before I talk about that, I just wanted to say that even if by chance there's somebody sitting here in the room that's not planning to have a march for 15,000 people next week, that's still okay. Okay, don't worry about it, because everything I'm going to talk about now you can apply to any project or campaign that you want to do or that you're doing at the moment. So for us, especially because we didn't have any resources, social media was a key, especially using Facebook. Now I know that in every country Facebook has a different popularity. For example, in the States, it's going down all the time. But in Israel and other countries, it's still extremely powerful. So we used a couple of Facebook's tools. For example, the Facebook event. Now, I don't know if any of you guys have ever used a Facebook event. I really don't know what goes on here in Polska. But for us, it was extremely successful. We used it as an indicator to know how we're doing. The more people that we had that marked that they were going to the event, the more the event became popular. And actually, other vegans would go inside every day to the event to see how it's doing. And the more people that we had, the more other people wanted to join. So basically, the Facebook event acted as a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I give you an example. 2014, do you see I actually marked it in a circle, a red one? You see we have 3,900 people that marked that they're going. This is in the event, not in real life. How many people came? About the same amount, 4,000, 5,000 people. So the next year, we targeted and trying to get this number as high as possible. And we put lots of time, resources, and effort in getting this number as high as possible. And we actually managed to get it to 14,000, okay? In reality, how many people came to the 15,000 march? 15,000 people came to the march. Okay, so basically, the number that we got here was crucial to bring out the people. So if I have only one recommendation that I can tell you is put lots of effort and time in getting your Facebook event as big as possible. For us, only the event itself brought thousands of people out to the streets. Our next method may sound a bit crazy, okay, but what we did was we had a huge list between 20 and 30,000 Facebook profiles of vegans. And we collected them from the different vegan groups. And we divided them between 20 and 30 volunteers. Each volunteer had a list of about 1,000 different vegans that he had to contact and send a personal message. In the message, we had a short explanation about the march, maybe 1 or 2 sentences. And then we asked the people receiving the messages only 2 things. 1, to mark that they're going on the Facebook event. And second, to invite all of their friends or share the event if it's easier for them. Now, I know that maybe some of you might not feel comfortable doing something like that, but for us it worked amazingly. And just see how you feel about it. Another technique that we used is using the Facebook groups and pages. We have in Israel about 100,000 vegans in the different groups and 200,000 the different vegan pages. Now, I know that for some of you, maybe it might sound not that many, but think about it. You have hundreds of thousands of people, vegans, that you can get free access to, and advertise whatever you want to. So what we did was we contacted the admins of the groups and the pages, and we asked them for only 2 things. 3 weeks before the march, we asked them to change the cover photo of the group or the page to a photo of the march, and do a pin post, meaning leaving the post on top of the page. And from the pin post and the cover photo, we had a link to the event on Facebook and a short explanation about the march. You can also share posts on the different groups, in the different groups, once in a while. You can also ask the admins of the pages to post relevant things on their pages. Just try not to overdo it, because then it kind of gets like a spammy feeling. So be aware of that. Another thing that we did, we edited a couple of videos and posted it on Facebook. Now don't worry, it doesn't have to be something extremely professional. It does have to be moving and have a clear call to action, asking people to come to the march. So just for like a small example, we showed in the videos, like on one hand, all the success that we have in Israel and all the victories, but on the other hand, all the suffering of animals and everything that's still happening in factory farming, and asking people to be more active and to come and join us in the march. So I know that the way I say it isn't that moving, but the videos were extremely moving. Actually, they got huge engagement, likes, share, comments, everything. So we even added a couple of $100 to promote it on Facebook. And with just $200, we got 100,000 views on Facebook for the videos. So that was, I think, really big. Me again, have to be in the center of attention all the time. Another thing that we did, we had a campaign. We asked people to change their profile picture to a picture of the march. Now keep in mind that a lot of people are kind of in love with themselves and even more in love with their profile picture. So even if they want to help, a lot of times they don't want to change their profile picture. So what we did was we had a banner that we put here on top of the profile picture. It still has a date, it still has the logo, and it still has a slogan. And this way the people can do both. They can also help promote the march, and they can also stay in love with their profile picture. To kind of get it going, we had 100 people change their profile picture in the same day to kind of like get it going. And in a couple of days, we had more than 1,000 people changing their profile picture. So just imagine, if you're like on Facebook, you're scrolling on your homepage, and then you see all of your friends in a couple of days changing their profile picture. That's pretty massive. We also had a viral campaign, try to get as many people as possible engaged in what we're doing. Now, basically it can be anything as long as it works and as long as it has the right message. So I'll just give you an example with what we did, okay? So the theme of the march was transformation, showing that each one of us can make a change in their lives. So we asked people to post on Facebook their stories. So for example, if somebody used to work in the dairy industry and now is vegan, or somebody just loves meat, used to love meat and ate hamburgers all day long, and now is a hardcore activist. So they would post their story, very moving, and at the end of the story, they tagged 2 people and challenged them to tell their stories. So we got hundreds and hundreds of stories like that. And each one of them was also very viral and got hundreds of likes, shares, comments. So that was also very, very effective. Celebrities. You have to get on board vegan celebrities. Do you have vegan celebrities in Poland? No, no. How many? 2? 20? Who is the most famous vegan celebrity in Poland? Good enough, vegetarian, we'll take it. That's good enough. Well, keep in mind that the march, what we had was animal rights march, so we actually gathered everybody. They can be vegetarian, they can be vegan, they can be animal lovers, they can be anybody. So also vegetarian celebs, that's also cool. Now, another when you hear get on board vegan celebs, you probably think about Miley Cyrus. But it doesn't have to be Miley Cyrus, right? Like, how the hell am I going to get to Miley Cyrus? I mean, these people, for example, does any of you here know any of these people? No. Well, in Israel, for some strange reason, these people are actually pretty famous, and they have lots of followers. So we're actually able to utilize them in a couple of ways. First thing, we contacted them and asked them if they're willing to be interviewed. If you have a celebrity that's willing to be interviewed, that will get you an item very, very easy and very fast. Another thing is using their social media. Today, the celebrities have massive social media, just crazy what's going on. For example, Miley Cyrus. She has 46 million followers just on Instagram. So imagine if she has only one post asking people to come to the march. That by itself can bring thousands of people. And last thing, don't forget to invite them. Invite the celebrities to the march. It's also good to get them involved. And also if you have 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 celebs, that's really good to bringing the media to cover them being in the march. And last but not least, asking the vegan businesses to help. So about a month and a half before the march, we contacted all the vegan restaurants and the vegan-friendly restaurants and ask them to help us. So just give you an example. If you live in Monaco, in France, you can just pick up the phone and call Novak Djukovic, who just opened a vegan restaurant, and say, hey Novak, how are you doing? We're going to have a march for 15,000 people promoting animal rights, and we wanted to know if you can help us. The only thing that we need for you is to let us to hang a poster in the entrance of the restaurant, and maybe put a couple of pamphlets on the counter. That's it. He'll probably say no and hang up the phone because it's just pescatarian. But honestly, feel free, feel comfortable to contact the businesses. You'll be surprised how many of them actually want to help. And don't forget that their customers are exactly the audience that you're looking for, because they're vegans or interested in veganism. And a lot of the restaurants are actually located in central areas, so you can get lots of exposure from people just walking by. So these were the main things that we used. Obviously, we did other stuff that I didn't talk about because I didn't want to bore you, and other stuff that we can do, that we could do, that we didn't do. But these were the main things. Now keep in mind that everything that I talked about doesn't really cost money, or almost money, and it's relative. You don't need to be a professional to do it, and it's relatively easy. Actually, some of the things that I talked about are so easy that I'm sure that some of you guys sitting here are thinking to yourselves, actually came all the way from Israel to tell us that we can post on Facebook? That's pretty obvious. Well, the truth is that, yeah, you're right. We actually have to do everything all the time, constantly, time after time after time, kind of just blitz it all over for us to succeed. And that's also kind of my message to you guys, promoting veganism everywhere. It doesn't have to be Poland. Because the vegan movement doesn't have money, doesn't have resources, you kind of have to do everything you can, work really, really hard, be creative, and think all the time, what is the most effective thing that I can do to save as many animals as possible? And since I'm from Israel, I'll finish with a slide in Hebrew. It says here, Todah, meaning thank you. Thank you very much.